AITA for not helping my sister who became homeless just after she gave birth to her and my soon-to-be ex-husband's baby. My sister 24F and I 26F were really close our whole lives, and we moved away from our parents together when she was 18 and I was 20. I met my soon-to-be ex-husband here and we got married and my sister stayed close. We spent a lot of time together. Then a few months ago, I learned my sister was pregnant and my husband was the father. I ended my marriage to him immediately and I told my sister I wanted nothing more to do with her and she was on her own. I had some of her stuff at my place and left it at my ex's place for her. For the rest of the pregnancy, they were living together and then he wouldn't let her back in after the baby was born. She called our parents from the hospital and told them she had nowhere to go, that he was looking for custody and didn't want her back, and I wasn't answering her calls. So they called me, and after I heard them explain what was going on, I told them it wasn't my problem. They tried to argue, but I wasn't having any of it. She got a place at a shelter for single parents and she's still there several weeks on. With the custody dispute, she can't move back to our parents, and I am still refusing to help her out. My parents are angry because I won't even take her calls or reply to any messages she sent. I actually blocked her because I knew she wouldn't stop. My parents don't know that part. But they're telling me I should be ashamed of myself for turning my back on her and the baby. I told my parents I owe her and the baby nothing. I told them it was just a shame she didn't choke on his dick when they were sleeping together behind my back. My parents called me disgusting for leaving them homeless, that I have room and could help.
AITA for telling my wife I won't hang out with her sister and affair partner. I, 26M, have been married to my wife, Sarah, 26F, for 5 years. My wife has a sister, Chelsea, 30F, with whom she's incredibly close with, and they pretty much talk every day. The three of us, and Chelsea's husband, Ryan, 30M, used to spend a lot of time together, going on double dates and hanging out as couples. About a year ago, everything changed. It was revealed that Chelsea was having an affair with a guy named Doug, 35M. This came as an incredible shock to me as we hung out so much as couples. Ryan took the cheating pretty hard and confided it in me how hurt he was for her stepping out on him. Honestly, I was devastated for the guy, and I felt a lot of anger about how everything had played out. My wife insists she did not know that her sister was having an affair. However, given how close she and Chelsea are, I have my doubts. Her and Ryan eventually divorced and Chelsea has been with Doug ever since. Despite everything that happened, my wife and Chelsea have continued their close relationship, going to brunches and spas together, just as they did before. However, when my wife first brought up the idea of doing a couples activity with Chelsea and Doug, I made it clear that I didn't want to participate. I still think it's messed up how Chelsea cheated on Ryan, sneaking around behind his back for so long, and then acting like nothing happened. My wife says the marriage is over now and it is time to accept Doug as part of the family. When Chelsea brought up the idea of going on a couples trip with her and Doug, I reiterated to my wife that I didn't want to hang out with her sister and her affair partner. My wife got upset, asking why I was harping on this and how it didn't affect me. I told her it did affect me because Ryan was hurt deeply by what Chelsea did. He trusted her, and she betrayed him in the worst way. Sarah said I couldn't judge their relationship because I didn't know what it was like. Sarah then told me that she still loves her sister and isn't going to abandon her because of the affair. I told her I wasn't asking her to stop talking to Chelsea, I just didn't want to be expected to hang out with Chelsea and Doug as a couple.
AITA for refusing to babysit for my siblings anymore and telling my family they can't use me as free childcare and treat me like shit for being an unwanted pregnancy. I 16M have 4 older siblings who are 11+ years older than me. My parents were finished at 4 kids, My dad got a vasectomy, and then 6 years after it, my mom found out she was expecting me. She was 13 weeks when they found out, and I was always told if she'd been earlier, she would have aborted me. My siblings hated that our parents had another kid. They're all close enough, but with me, I feel like a stranger, and it's not just the age gap. They used to call me Mom and Dad's mistake and Mom and Dad's oops and stuff like that. They'd come home for Christmas and ignore me or make comments about me. They'd buy gifts for each other and nothing for me. My parents also treated me like a burden. When I was younger, they'd call me whiny and ask why I couldn't read my own bedtime stories or why I wanted to sit with them. If I asked for a hug, they'd make it such a big deal and say they just wanted me to go away and be quiet in my room. When I had a bad day, they were too busy to hear me out. Most times they would eat without me too. And sometimes I'd come home and some or all of my siblings would be visiting and they'd have family dinners without me. Oh, the family dinners they had in restaurants and stuff never included me either. And once my siblings started having kids, I was the default babysitter. If we all vacationed together, I was only brought along to watch kids. Sometimes I was left in the hotel or a place we were staying alone, and they'd have family time. My siblings would just drop off their kids other times at home and tell me to babysit, and my parents would give them the okay. I was never asked. I know people will ask if I'm not the bio kid of one of my parents, but I'm both their bio kid. 100% confirmed. It's just I came along when they were done and they resent me for it, and my siblings never wanted me. I tried speaking to my parents and my siblings about how I felt, but I'm brushed aside. I never tried writing a letter, but it won't make a difference, and I'm not pouring my heart out like that to have them not read the letter or to toss it in the trash or something. I got so tired of it recently. I've been spending more time at my girlfriend's house and I hang out with her family more. I started to stay there whenever I feel like they might need me for babysitting, and I have refused when told I needed to. On Saturday, they wanted to have a family night out and brought the kids over, but I wasn't home. Mom called and told me I needed to come home and babysit. I told her to let everyone know that they can't use me as free childcare and treat me like shit for being an unwanted pregnancy anymore. I said I didn't have any say in it, and I'm not letting them do this to me anymore. Their reaction wasn't pretty, but I have stood my ground, which pisses them all off.
AITA for refusing to let my disabled partner in a baking class use her condition to unfairly use me and gain favors from the chef. I'm 19M. Recently signed up for a baking class somewhere. Last month, and the first order of business for the head chef was to group all of us into twos. No one knew the other, so it wasn't easy for people to choose partners. So the chef did a ticket raffle with everyone's name. And I ended up with Tanya, 23F, as my partner. Tanya has a disability as she's unable to walk due to some complications, and she's on a wheelchair. I didn't have no issue looking forward to working with her, and she seemed cool at first. The first few days we just theoretical, nothing much going on. Hence, I couldn't get to see more of what Tanya was as a course partner. So now we begin on one of our first practical classes. Each class is about 5 hours. So we are together for quite a bit of time. We are given instructions as a whole class and is set out as a group to respective stations where work begins, such as mixing ingredients and stuff. Tanya always insisted to divide the work so as to finish faster. She usually took the critical preparations of whatever we were preparing. And she mostly messed it up, meaning our final product was way below the needed standards. She would use her disability in a subtle manner to excuse her messing up the products, saying how it could be tiring to mix stuff in the position she is in, and I should just try to bear with it. So now we are always producing very shit bakes because she refuses to let me have a hand getting the ingredients together, saying she doesn't want to seem like she can't keep up with the class and has something to prove. Out of everyone now, I'm the only one who isn't actually gaining any skills comparing to how expensive the course is, because all I'm essentially doing is cleaning up after her disastrous work and wiping surfaces. The funny thing is, our station is just next to where the chef is, and he sees all these shenanigans while doing absolutely nothing. All he does is tell her how she is doing so great for her situation, but she doesn't understand. And this made her delusional on the quality of her work and made her insist on taking up more tasks. I got fed up because I wasn't learning anything, and significant time was passing by and I wasn't there to waste money. I spoke to the chef about the situation, asking about his separation, and he said it would be wrong to do that just because of her disability and it wasn't right to do so. Well, I still insisted, despite him ignoring the main issue. He gave in to my request, and now I participate in the class as an individual. Tanya made it seem like I left her alone since she's disabled, and my fellow classmates now look at me like some devil with other coming up to me telling me my morals aren't right. Only a few agreed with my decision,